Well, hello and welcome to the Informed Traveler Podcast, a weekly travel podcast where our goal is to help you become a more informed traveler. And I'm your host, Randy Sharman. There's a growing trend with the larger hotel brands who are adding vacation rental properties to their portfolios, creating new options for large groups and families. So in a few seconds, travel expert Onanta Forbes will join me to discuss those options. Plus, did you know that 1 in 3 people who book their own travel make a critical mistake in the booking process? That's the findings of a new Flight Center study. So we'll find out what those errors are and how to avoid them. And Ken Stewart from Crowfoot Travel Solutions will be along with a few destination ideas and travel deals with our weekly roundup. But first, let's kick things off chatting with travel expert Onanta Forbes, who joins us each week to discuss some of the travel news and travel trends. You can follow her adventures on Instagram, Facebook, and X at Onanta Forbes. OnantaForbes.com is her website. Hi, Onanta.
Randy, how are you?
I'm well, thank you. We're going to talk about this trend, and I've been kind of following this over the past number of years. Hotel chains adding their own vacation rental properties to compete with the likes of Airbnb and VRBO, etc. I, for one, am glad for this because I fall right in that demographic. But as a travel agent, how do you see it?
So as a travel agent, we don't get too involved with Airbnb because they don't work with us, right? But we do see people, especially when they have larger groups or multi-family generational travel, they're interested in a property that's wholly theirs and have multiple facilities that they can enjoy. But you're right. There's lots of hotel and resorts that are also looking at this and seeing the potential for their properties and their brand to also take advantage of this trend. And I think we're seeing too that, especially after the pandemic, yes, more people are traveling together, but also people are going for longer stays.
Well, I never was an Airbnb person, and I get it. I understand, how it would suit some people. It was never for me. I just don't feel that comfortable being in someone else's home, or even if it's not their home. Some people I know they buy properties specifically to rent out like that. It just wasn't my thing. But I understand if that's your thing. That's okay too. Each to their own. So I'm really glad. Like I said, I fall right into this demographic. I have 2 teenage children, so now we need a little bit more space. They would probably like their own bed, their own room, kind of thing, and this fits perfectly.
Yeah, it does. And you're right, because I think travelers are looking to avoid the unpredictability that can come from renting from individual owners, and also all hidden costs, whether it's a cleaning fee that's just quite high, or the expectation that you have to clean it up quite to certain specifications before you leave. Whereas a hotel or resort, you don't. You can just leave in most cases. Like I and it may be that you have to do certain things, but um, there's lots of good companies such as Hilton, Marriott, Hyatt. You can use your points. You can earn points if you have a loyalty program with any of these companies. And it's not just, US or North America, it's worldwide.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that has a charm in itself, as far as the credibility is. If you are going worldwide, you're traveling long distances, you want to make sure when you get there, it's not a scam and that you really do have that property waiting for you.
Absolutely. Well,
Yeah.
and again, I just go back. The reason why I'm not a fan of Airbnb. And again, I get it. If you like it, that's great. It's just not for me. But it's because you have a front desk. You have someone there to help
Yes.
you 24/7 if something goes wrong, or if you need something, or if you're just kind of looking for some direction. Right? You have
Yeah.
that thing there for you. And I get it. Maybe you're paying a little bit more. And I'm looking at this article on NerdWallet.com, which titles, move over, Airbnb, big hotels are taking over. But they use the example of Evermore Orlando Resort, and it's a huge resort, but it's designed specifically for that. So you have the idea of a resort, but you still get everything you want from a 3-bedroom condo with a full kitchen.
Oh yeah, that's nice, isn't it? And you know that they have that appeal that, especially for families, that you can have bunk rooms or at this resort, it says it has a slide that takes you downstairs. Well, wow. And it also has amenities like an artificial beach complex, golf courses, restaurants, and a gym. So that's also huge because you don't always want to cook when you're away because it's your vacation too, right? Yes, you
Hmm.
can maybe save some money on getting groceries and having breakfast and such, but it's also nice to have that opportunity to have the amenities because I know one of the key things for some of our guests is that they like to know that it has a nice proper gym that
Hmm.
they can work out because fitness is very important to people. Um, and also, you know, if you have a full house of guests, it could be more affordable because than an individual hotel room. It did, you know, in this article, it did say that the units can be expensive, so the more the merrier.
Yeah, exactly. And even like amenities, and again, we go back using the example of the Evermore in Orlando, the huge sort of, it's a man-made beach, but you have sort of that there for you. You've got a swimming pools and at other resorts too, where, maybe you get a small little swimming pool at an Airbnb, but who knows how clean it is and when the last time
Yes.
it was maintained and just little things like that. But you know that if you're with Marriott or Hilton, uh, those chains, that's their reputation is pretty good.
Especially after COVID, you want to make sure you have the sanitary measures in place. Like even in other forms of travel, like with cruise ships, you hear they have viruses that spread and they clean quite a bit. So you want to make sure that cleanliness level is there. Now, Marriott did launch its Home and Villas by Marriott International, and it has like 140,000 vacation rentals worldwide. And and a lot of people are members of Bonvoy, which is their loyalty program, and they can earn and redeem points for the stays here. Now, in contrast to Evermore, these are mostly standalone homes, and they are vetted by a designated Marriott property management company, and so that they offer 24/7 support. They may not be necessarily on site, but you have somebody to talk to in a manner that's efficient, like you're not having to wait or track
Hmm.
down the owner, or um, it offers, you know, opportunities for luxury properties, and that could include like an Italian villa with a sauna, private chef, and infinity pool.
Hmm.
And this particular villa can accommodate up to 24 people. I don't know 24 people that would go with me, but anyway, or I could call on, but that would be pretty unique if you have, you know, extended family or friends or a wedding. Like, wouldn't
Hmm.
that be kind of fun? Like when,
Hmm.
because that's destination weddings are huge, and you know it could add up in price. But if you have a property like this, multi bedroom homes, you know, could, if you equate it out, could cost you less than $100 per night.
Yeah, depending on the property you're looking at and how many people. Yeah, if you break it down per person, it probably isn't that much more expensive than a luxury hotel or something to that effect. And just getting back to the fact of cooking meals and that kind of thing. At least you have the option. And if it's a little more pricier for places like the Evermore in Orlando, well, you can offset the price of that by maybe having breakfast or lunch in your suite, and then dining out in the evening, or vice versa, or something to that effect. So you can kind of juggle costs too.
Yeah, I absolutely love having the option to eat breakfast um, at your like residence or your
Hmm.
property before you head out to the day because it does save money. And then maybe even, especially if you have a family or even a couple, friends, you know, you can even make sandwiches to take with you if you're exploring out and
Hmm.
about. Because it does, cost matters in this world, especially if you're at a destination where our dollar doesn't do so good. That matters too, because the exchange rate could also add to your vacation budget. So, yes, I'm sure there's people that will still think of Airbnb or another short term rental, but I think there's now options that you can compare so that you are getting the best value
Mhm.
for your dollar.
And options are always good. And I think this is a good idea. I hope more hotel chains do it, which I think they
Yes.
will. Onanta Forbes is a travel expert. You can follow her on Instagram, Facebook, and X at Onanta Forbes. OnantaForbes.com is her website. Thanks, Onanta.
Thank you. All the best for the week.
So, have you ever made a mistake when booking your own travel? According to a new study from Flight Centre, errors are quite common and very costly when it comes to booking your own travel. So, joining us now to discuss what those mistakes are and what can be done to prevent them is Amra Drokovic. She's the head of communications for Flight Centre Canada. Their website is flightcentre.ca. Hi, Amra.
Hi, Randy. Thanks for having me.
We're going to talk about mistakes people make when booking travel online, and it's quite a big number. 33%, according to your study, make critical errors. That's 1 in 3 making a mistake. That's a high number. Does that surprise you?
No, I'm not. I'm going to admit that I have been one of those 3 people that have actually made a critical booking mistake. And it was before I started working here at Flight Centre Travel Group. So no, I am absolutely not surprised. These errors aren't just embarrassing, though. They're really expensive as well. And that's why we want to sort of talk about it with Canadians so that they understand that, with one wrong click, you can really obliterate your hard-earned dollars.
Yeah, exactly. So now, how did you come up with the numbers? Did you just kind of look back and go over bookings over a certain period of time and say, yeah, there's a mistake, there was a mistake, there was a mistake, that kind of thing?
Oh, goodness. I did not do that. What I did is I left it to the experts. This was a YouGov survey. So a survey that we conducted with a third-party market research company here in Canada. And they surveyed over 1,000 Canadians. And this is what we learned was that, yes, 33% of Canadians make critical mistakes when booking travel online. Most of these booking mistakes would be missed flights, incorrect names, non-refundable bookings, but also things like if you're booking a complicated trip and you have layovers, you're booking your flights too close together. I've also done that as well. Or you just booked the wrong date, something that I've also booked. Or perhaps you have, your visa entry expired. I have also done that. So yes, it does happen. And I think that's what inspired me was perhaps my own booking blunders that I made pre-Flight Centre. And I just thought it would be an interesting survey for us to find out, have Canadians made the same sort of mistakes?
So when you say, I'm looking here at that's the survey results, flights booked too close together. That would be if you have a connection somewhere, right?
Yes. So sometimes, let's say you're doing a multi-destination trip. A lot of people do that, or it could just be that you're allowing too close together, like you're not allowing enough time for your domestic flights or perhaps for your international flights. So we would recommend, if you are booking for yourself, book a minimum of 90 minutes for domestic flights and for 2 hours for international international connections to accommodate for those delays in airport processing times. Now, I know when you typically book for a flight, that's generally in there where they'll have like multi-stops.
Mm-hmm.
But I would never, now that my lesson I've learned is I would never book those really too close together flights, because just from my own mistake where I did miss my connecting flight while I was in Germany and running for about 20 minutes to get to my connecting flight, it's very costly when you have to rebook the second leg of your flight to whether it's to go back home or to continue on your trip.
Well, we talk about that quite a bit, actually, on our podcast about giving yourself lots of time, especially, there's all kinds of factors out of your control, weather events for one thing that's going to delay a flight. And quite frankly, the airlines are not doing a great job of being on time for some of their flights. So you want to give yourself as much time as possible. And that was the biggest one, 13%.
So if we're going to look at common booking errors, in addition to flights booked too close, we have incorrect travel dates. So a lot of people will book incorrect travel dates. I have done that. I was booking a trip for my parents, and they were actually going to Europe for a wedding. And when they got their tickets, I realized that I booked for the wrong month. So I ended up paying $1,200 for this mistake.
Yikes. Going back to your point about these are costly errors. So now, like, what can you do? Like the people at Flight Center, like if I've made a mistake, whether it's the wrong date or maybe misspelled my name or maybe the wrong destination entirely, but either way, it's a mistake. How can it be corrected and to the least amount of consequence?
Well, if you're booking DIY online, it's just going to take you a lot of patience to sort of work with whichever provider you booked with, and that takes time. But our number one tip to avoid booking mistakes is to use a trusted travel advisor, especially if you are booking complex trips. So not only will a travel expert prevent incorrect booking information, but they can help you understand the fine print of what you're booking, ensuring that no costly mistakes are made. Right? And it's just, interestingly, we also have data that shows that 49% of Canadians believe that working with a professional travel expert provides the best experience when booking their trip, because really it gives you that peace of mind and that clarity. Really, a travel expert brings clarity to any confusion, and that's whether or not you should book a premium flight versus a flexi flight. So now we have all these like bundled fare category options that I think confuses a lot of people. And also, not everyone reads the fine print. So maybe you're thinking that you've booked a premium flight, but when you actually board the plane, because there wasn't enough, I don't know, something, maybe you booked that flight 6 months in advance, and then closer to the flight, the airline has changed the air carrier, or the aircraft rather. So now you're on a completely different aircraft that doesn't provide those premium seats that you paid for. So now you've been downgraded essentially into economy, and you won't get your money back for that.
Yeah, exactly. So, and that's kind of what I was going to say too. It's always good to have another set of eyes looking, whether it's a travel advisor or even just somebody else when you're doing the booking, that kind of thing. What I found interesting though too was Gen Z and millennials are making more mistakes than the older people, baby boomers. Maybe that's because baby boomers have more time and more patience to make sure that they didn't make a mistake. And of course, men make more mistakes than women. That's that's a given.
Well, to me, it makes sense. Well, first, baby boomers, I would also say, yes, they have a lot more time, and they're typically the ones who do work with the travel expert. So that's probably why they're not making mistakes, because they're trusting their travel with someone, a professional who can do it for them. Gen Z, I would guess that, they're just not as experienced in booking their travels, very excited, and these things can happen. Millennials, I would say it's because they're busy. They're that busy generation where they're working, they probably have kids, their family, and they probably have aging parents as well. So it really makes sense to me. Now, in terms of men reporting rather more errors than women, a 10% difference, actually, 37% of men in comparison to 27% of women. I'm not sure why that is true. Why don't you tell me, Randy? What's the insight into that?
Well, I was just going to say maybe we should just leave it at that. Not try to break that down. We'll just say that the mistakes that people make, try to avoid as best as possible. Flights booked too close together. Sometimes, though, the options are from the airlines, and you don't really have too many options. You kind of got to take what the airline gives you. Incorrect travel dates, missed visa or entry requirements, wrong passenger details. Like I'm assuming that's the spelling of a name, because it does have to match your passport. Wrong accommodations, wrong destinations. Those are the things to look out for.
Absolutely, Randy. It happens. I recently read an article in Canada. It was a woman who actually it was they were traveling as a family and she had misspelt her own name. She was booking online, DIY, and and it happens, I misspell my name all the time because I get corrected by spell check. Amra is not a common name, so spell check always corrects me. And if I don't double check, my name will be incorrect. And this happened to a woman where she had to cancel her family trip because the airline wouldn't accommodate this booking error because she had made it herself, because she
Yeah.
had booked online herself. So you have to understand that at this time, we have millions of Canadians are adapting their travel plans due to the cost of living pressure. So travel, it's not just a dream anymore. It's a serious investment.
Well, for sure. I was just going to say though, like if you, as soon as you get that booking confirmation, that's where you should go through to see if everything is correct, because you do have sort of a window of maybe 24 hours where you can call and get those errors corrected quickly, right?
It all depends on the fine print, but definitely I would look immediately, confirm everything. But earlier to what you said, the best thing to do is if you are around someone, always have somebody else double check everything that you're doing. Ensure that you're following, like you maybe use a calendar as well when you're booking so that you do have the correct dates. Also, align them with your itinerary, especially when you're dealing with different time zone changes or bookings made far in advance. Always verify entry requirements both at the time of booking and before your departure, right? Because things change. Just recently, the UK, they announced their new visa entry requirement that started January 8th. But if any Canadian wants to travel to the UK, they must have this filled out and completed before they even step onto that airplane. Otherwise, they will be denied entry. Also, booking blunders with wrong accommodation. You just really need to confirm everything.
Well, we're not passing judgment, merely making observations. Everyone makes mistakes, but try to keep the errors down as much as possible, and have a second set of eyes, whether that's a travel advisor or just someone that's near you that you can double check everything before you hit that book button, right?
Absolutely. I get it. These stories, they sound absurd, but they do happen. And really, the emotional and financial toll they take, it's devastating. So again, travel isn't just expensive, it's personal. And when something goes wrong, it's not just your wallet that suffers, it's your dream vacation, your dream trip. And maybe it is sort of like your pride as well. Like in that instance, when I had to pay for my parents' new flight, that was definitely an embarrassing moment for me. And these things do happen. And so at the end of the day, yeah, ensure that you have either a trusted travel expert or a friend that's going to help you, or your partner, ensuring that you can confirm everything along the way so that you can, protect your investment and ensure that you have a great experience. Because really, travel, I believe, the thrill of it starts in those planning phases when you first start researching, and then when you start booking as well. So, it really dampens the mood a lot if you do make this booking error, because let's face it, nobody likes to lose money.
Good tips. Amra Durokovich is the head of communications for Flight Centre Canada. FlightCentre.ca is their website. Thanks for the insight, Amra. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Randy. I enjoyed this. Anytime.
This is the Informed Traveler Podcast. I'm Randy Sharman. Just want to remind you of our website, theinformedtraveler.org. That's where you can find our contact page if you have any questions or comments about the podcast. You can also email me, too, with any questions you might have or show ideas. My email address is randy@theinformedtraveler.org. And if you want to get up-to-date travel info through the week or just see a few amusing stories and links, you can like us on Facebook at facebook.com/informed Traveler, on Instagram at Informed Traveler, or on X at Informed Traveler. So now, as always, we'd like to end the show with our weekly roundup, and joining us to do that is Ken Stewart from Crowfoot Travel Solutions. Good day, sir.
Hello, Randy. Hello, everybody.
How has your week been?
Really good, really good. Cruisers, and those of you thinking of doing your first cruise, wave season is here. Pretty much every cruise line has some kind of a sale on. They may be limited or whatever because it's the next best thing to the Black Fridays. So just for you cruisers,
Hey,
a couple that we found, Explorer, Ocean Cruises, and Luxury Cruising. They only have 2 ships, 461 cabins, so no crowds. Almost all-inclusive pricing. Everything's all included while you're on board the ship. They've got exciting itineraries. You can sail the Caribbean, Europe and the Mediterranean. One of the ones I liked was Monaco. If you're a Formula One race fan, you can cruise and take in the race while you're there.
that would be different.
Often offering a lot of exploration, cultural, and relaxing sailing for you. So, and again, with like most cruise companies, you can get pre or post stays in their fantastic destinations. So, to commemorate this year, they've got both the Explorer 1 and Explorer 2 in the Caribbean. So they're offering an onboard journey experience credit of $150 a person and $300 a suite for new bookings on
Very
select
good.
Caribbean journeys. So check them out.
Yeah, very good.
For a short time, Emerald Rover Cruises as well. It can let you lock in 2025 pricing on 2026 journeys. And we always say with cruises, they're booking, around to 2026 and even starting to be early 2027. But those dates sneak up on you quick and a lot of sailings sell out. So, it's always nice to lock in early. So, again, you're getting 2025 pricing. So, a couple examples, savings up to $5,600 a couple on 5 to 11-day cruises. Or you can enjoy free airfare and savings up to $3,000 a couple on 15-plus day itineraries. One example, you want to see Portugal right now, save 20 to 25% off 2025 sailings. And
Nice.
select sailings also have a bonus of €300 on board
Woohoo.
credit. So
Woohoo.
that's like almost $500.
So my question would be, I know with ocean cruises, you put your deposit down and it's refundable up to a certain time frame. Is that the same with river cruises? If you put your deposit down, is it refundable?
Yeah, and they all vary. So again, like I say, it's an opportunity. Some of them require full payment a year out, I'll be honest, which is a long time out. But again, you get yourself locked in and everything like that. And again, they have all kinds of different plans, and we can tell travel insurance and everything as well. But they do have, like everybody else, they have cutoff dates.
Yeah.
So deposit
But up
date,
until
final
that
payment
cutoff
date,
date, it is a refundable thing. So if you wanted to put a
the majority of the time, yes,
deposit
it is.
down and then,
Yep,
make your final decision when you have to.
you got it. Star Clippers, we haven't talked about them for a while. True sailing ships where you can hoist the sails, climb the crow's nest, pretend you're a pirate, steer the ship, or actually just sit on the deck and enjoy the breeze. I know you mentioned one time that's probably what you're going to be doing, having a cocktail while we watch everybody else do everything.
That's me.
As
Yep.
as you're sailing along, going to exciting ports around the world. A lot of them, the large cruise ships can't take you to. And again, these are smaller ships. Again, so pick an itinerary, sailings of 3 to 6 days, going to get a credit of $150 a person. On the airfare and the beverages thrown in, and then 7 to 9 days, a credit of 200 per person on the airfares and beverages, and 10 plus days, they're going to up that to $250. So again, it's a really neat one, and especially it's a great one because you got smaller numbers of people and whatever, and we've actually had families on these, and they've really enjoyed it. It's really good for the kids, but again, kids are probably going to be a little older, getting towards their teens or whatever, to truly enjoy it.
Cool. Okay.
TTC Group. And again, when you see them, they include names that you're going to recognize: Insight Vacations, Trafalgar, Brenda Vacations, and Cost Savers want you to tour next year. Any of their worldwide tours are on sale right now across the portfolio of brands. New bookings by February 20th for Europe, North America, and Down Under and more. So plus the past guests. If you've booked with any and traveled with any of those guys before, you always receive an additional small discount and sometimes some bonus pricing.
Nice.
Speaking of Europe, Ireland, Britain, or Iceland on your travel radar, CI Tours needs to be the one you're thinking of right now because start 2025, they've got their companion flies free on select tours in June through August, which is usually high season. So again, airfare is usually a little more expensive then, so it's a great saving. And again, we've got till the end of the month to get those booked.
Nice. Yeah, the airfare is a big chunk of it, isn't it?
It is. Collette Vacations, one of our travel savings preferred partners. They got tours worldwide, multiple choices and styles to choose from. They actually have the faith-based tours, which are really, really popular. Classic, your traditional coach tours up to 40 passengers. Explorations, which are the smaller groups, 20 to 24. And these are different than the exploration ones and everything, so you got lots to choose from. Or maybe the sightseeing one where you just unpack once, so you pick a city and then you do day trips from there, so it makes that easy peasy. You can always add your air with them. They've got great air packages, and when you're adding the air, it includes your transfers to and from the airports, including here at home. And that's even in the middle of the winter. If it's 40 below, they're going to pick you up in a warm vehicle, take you there, and then pick you up, bring you home.
Nice.
One of their comments they like to say is compare their tours to the other guys, as they like to say, and count the 1 day stays in a tour. Because again, actually with Colette, you're spending 2 or 3 days in destination, except for maybe the arrival or departure day, depending on the tour you choose. So, and they've also got one of the best insurance policies in the business. We always talk about protecting yourself. You can add it in with them. Theirs, they allow you to cancel up to 24 hours prior, and it's a full refund, not a credit or a voucher that you have to use down the road.
Excellent.
Down the road.
Yeah.
So again, right now they've got the worldwide sale on 10% off tours departing February 1st to as far as April the 30th, 2026 for new bookings by January 29th. And a reminder that those small groups, the exploration ones, are becoming more and more popular, especially since they're smaller numbers and they tend to sell up quickly.
Very good.
We've talked a lot about these, and I've had quite a few of these over the winter, and I've got a bunch coming up. Once we have conversations with some of our clients, if you got a large family, maybe between your brothers and sisters' family, or if you're including grandma and grandpa and the grandkids or whatever, you can get 10 plus people, then ask your friendly travel agent if maybe you should be looking for a group rate. And again, there's lots of multi-generational family travel right now that 10 people is really easy to find. It can be friends or couples that you want to travel with, and it can be any type of group. And I always ask the question, it could be the all-inclusive if we want to sit on the beach, cruises for sure, river cruises. Maybe you want to do some adventure travel in Costa Rica or Africa, maybe over in Europe, do a boat and bike trip. Whatever your likes are, your group can be sometimes as well exclusively built just for you and your dates, depending on the supplier. So make sure you ask your agent if you can qualify.
Nice. Yeah, exactly. Why not? Let's get a group together.
Yep. And Air Canada Vacations, for example, is until January 31st, book Europe and save $400 a couple on tour packages or $300 per pair on flight and cruise packages, and that qualifies for groups too.
Very good.
Get your people together. And we always like to remind you too that online pricing, always identical pretty much to what any agent can tie in for you. But not only can we assist you before, make some help with some suggestions, and then heaven forbid, if there's an issue, we can assist you during and after the trip. If you've never used a real-life travel agent, try one out.
Very good, sir. And if people want to get a hold of you, what's that number?
In Calgary, 403-241-7140, and outside Calgary, you can call us toll-free, 1-877-511-5511. Then you too can relax. It's all taken care of.
Indeed, sir.
Enjoy the week.
And that is our show for this week. If you have comments or questions, we'd love to hear from you. If you have a show idea, send that along as well. My email is randy@theinformedtraveler.org. And if you like what you heard, tell a friend. You can check out our website too at theinformedtraveler.org. In the meantime, thanks for listening, travel safe, and be an informed traveler.